Hey there, and welcome to another episode of One Email, Two Takes. I'm Will Allred, and this is the weekly Sales Hacker Show where we take emails that have either been sent to us or have been sent for feedback, break those emails down, talk about the strategies behind them, why they work, why they don't work, and offer our takes on how we would potentially rewrite those things. And now this week, I have a total doozy of an email for y'all. The strategy behind it is something that I've seen become very popular online. This concept of wanting to interview your buyer as a way to get a warm lead in. Now, how do I know that they don't actually want to quote unquote interview me? Well, it goes along with something within the messaging known as the uh, I'm not trying to sell you anything. And if you say it enough times, I start to become very critical of what you're actually putting forward. Now, I'm going to share my screen. You're going to have basically a live look at what this looked like in my inbox. And you'll quickly come to realize why I didn't respond. So one of the first things that I have to call out is the fact that they use a first name within the subject line. I absolutely detest this as a practice. Not because it's, some horrible, malfeasance against me. It's just the fact that like the data tells you that you're going to get about 20% less replies if you do this. Now, everything about this kind of just feels immediately a little marketing-y, right? And looking at the entire message thread, you quickly realize this came from the marketing department. It didn't come from the sales team, right? So look at the first email that was sent over. Well, I'd love to interview you. I'm researching business owners in the software and IT industry. Does anyone actually know what that means? I certainly don't. But you can see there was multiple other attempts to follow up. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Another lovely cliche. Thought I'd check back in to see if you're now open to participating in. I'm probably not. And then we got the finale, the breakup. And this breakup email is something I just wish teams would cut from their repertoire. And it's not that I hate breakup emails. I'm going to show y'all two different ways that I would approach this that are way savvier. The problem is this is corny. Your buyer has seen this a bajillion times. We just need to stop. We need to put it up on the shelf where it belongs, and it can just get dusty and old by itself because your buyer has seen through this a million times. So hi, well, I haven't heard back from you, and that tells me one of three things. Do you know where this is going? You're not interested in participating in my study and receiving valuable industry insights. And if that's the case, please let me know so I can stop bothering you. Sales reps, please stop saying I'm bothering you in any way. I'm being a pest. These kind of language, you're belittling yourself and you don't need to do it. Now, you're still interested, but you haven't had time to get back to me yet. Yeah, okay, buddy. You've fallen and can't get up. In that case, let me know and I'll call 911. What? Okay. This is on par with like you got eaten by an alligator, all these like really corny jokes. And like I get it, it was a pattern disrupt in like 1995. It's not anymore. Like let's just cut that one. Okay. Please let me know which one it is. I'm starting to worry. Don't know why you'd worry, buddy. You actually haven't actually sent this to me. You've sent this to me and 7,000 of my closest friends. Thanks in advance and look forward to hearing from you. Cheers. This poor CEO founder whose marketing team has hijacked his inbox. Now, there's a few things going on here. One is the idea of interviewing your prospect is actually a brilliant strategy. It's just when you try to execute it this way, it comes across so poorly as the end recipient, right? Like nobody's going to read through this email and think to themselves like, wow, I'm special. This person wants to interview me. They want to talk to me, right? And it's like a strategy like this isn't built for scale. So let's go through two different ways that we can write this better, because this is not it. This is not how we should be designing cadences. This is just not how we should be doing anything. Let's talk about the first one. Now, this comes from my typical co-host, Christina Finsath. That's called the Bye for Now breakup. And I've used this, I've seen it in action. It absolutely kills it. And the reason it kills it is it's short, it is simple, and you typically use it early in the cadence. Now, a lot of folks will tell you that you should write this long, drawn out cadence. I don't dislike the act of following up. The problem is most of your buyers are followed up with a bajillion other times. And so instead of following up with just that buyer, let's start to take that cadence and think about it across the entire account. Let's start to expand our horizon beyond this one individual and just hitting them up 7 trillion times. So the buy for now, I've used it email 3, I've used it email 5, right? This is coming early and people really appreciate that. The other thing they appreciate about it is I'm trying to personalize it when I can, right? So when I reach out in the initial cold email, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm personalizing that note. I have a reason for why I'm reaching out in the first place. And so I try a couple times with that reason to reach out. And then I say, hey, okay, that reason clearly wasn't the good reason to reach out. Not a big deal. That is all we're trying to say with this email. So, hey, Will, I reached out a few times. I'm going to chalk it up to my timing being off, right? What you're doing there is you're being disarming, but you're not saying what you have to offer is not valuable, right? You're not saying I'm a pest. You're just saying, okay, that's a fact. Timing's off. Given the recent hype around GPT, I wanted to highlight your voice on the topic. Our audience is about 10K and growing, right? So I'm giving a reason for why I wanted to interview this individual, and I'm trying to make it specific to what's going on within their day-to-day lives. Novel concept, right? Now, feel free to correct me if I've got it wrong. Very simple statement here, but it has a ton of impact. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, correct me. I've got this theory. I've put it out there a few times. Correct me if I've got this all wrong. I'll stop my outreach for now. You're making a verbal contract with the person on the other end, and you're saying you're not going to see another piece of outreach from me. And that's okay, right? They actually appreciate that. If it's not of interest, they're just not going to respond. Everything is fine. Sometimes you'll get a response and they'll tell you it's a timing thing, but there's a lot of value that we had from adding this to your sequence as you go and you do outbound. So this is one approach. One of the things I mentioned when I was talking about cadence strategy or sequence strategy, whatever your lexicon is focusing on the account as a whole, which means there's more than one person involved in this conversation. Now, this is going to bring you to one of 4 things that can happen with your email. If you're thinking about this, right? They can do something, they can respond, they can delay. You know, a lot of times you'll just sit on an email in your inbox until you feel like you've got time to deal with it. You can delete it. Unfortunately, it happens to a lot of our cold emails. And then the last thing you can do is you can delegate it. And that is where the referral email comes into play. Now, one of the things that you'll see here is 1, there's a bonus play involved, but 2, there's also a very well-researched individual involved within this request for referral. One of the most annoying things to get is a blanketed email that says, hey, who would be a good person within your organization to talk to about X? I'm sorry, sales rep, that is your job. Like, that's what you get paid to do, is account research, so that when you do that outreach, it is well thought through and you're not just asking me to do work for you. I'm not going to do it. So this is a way better approach, and it allows you to expand that series of conversations that you have within an organization as you try to find your way in. So how does this start? Hey, Will, would your co-founder William be a better person to talk to about this? I see your name on LinkedIn a bunch, but I also realize William might want to be lead voice on this topic as CEO. Excited to highlight your team and the hype building in the space. I don't know. I made this example up around why someone would want to interview me, right? But like the point being is you're just trying to generate a conversation that, or get this thing forwarded to someone else, right? If you're in outreach and you look, you're going to see open notifications go off on an email like this. And so what's the next thing you do? we jump to the bonus play. And that is you reach out to William and you say, hey, William, did Will forward you my note? Now, I will tell you, if I see that within this preview text up here, I say, hey, Will, did William forward you my note? I'm opening that email. I'm going to check it out because I have no idea what that is. I don't know. It sounds important. Will should have emailed me something. Okay. What is that? All of a sudden, you've tapped into urgency. Now, I'm writing a piece of content on the hype related to GPT. I thought your team's voice would be important to highlight. Is this more a thing for him or you? There's a couple things I'm doing here, right? Which is, here's why I reached out to Will in the first place. Here's why I reached out to Will. And then a simple question to start dialogue, right? Then you can start a normal cadence or a sequence attached to this based off of why you're reaching out in the first place, right? Now, this is a weird example because I'm using an interview as my case study here, but I think it's really important to see how you can break up and how it actually plays into a much smarter way to approach the sequence and the account as a whole. So a few things to take from this. You can do more than just reach out to one person within an account. You can play people within the account against one another, not necessarily against one another, but recognize that it's a social environment and you can use names of people within the organization to generate interest and curiosity. And just as I continue to reiterate, personalize your emails and focus on starting conversation. So a few examples here. Hopefully they're helpful. If you enjoy content like this, I love putting these together with Sales Hacker. Subscribe to the newsletter, check out the videos section on saleshacker.com, and be sure to check out the YouTube channel for Sales Hacker. All the videos go live there, and you can dig into, I think, over 50 videos at this point that we've done together. So until next time, I'm Will Allred, one of the founders at Lavender, where we help sales reps write better emails faster. And I love doing these things. Till next time, Sales Hacker.